Yo, what's up, chat? It's Chad here. I just want to talk to you guys about Deep Rock Galactic Season 3. So I just finished playing it, and so far, I think that the season's just a little bit lackluster. Not to be rude or anything to the developers, I think they developed a fine season. I just think that this season kind of pales in comparison to the previous seasons. So I guess I'll get right into it. And actually, one more thing before I do get into it. I have about 1,400 hours in this game, so I am a veteran, and I've experienced this game back to front. So this really doesn't have anything to do with the new player's experience. Anybody who's new will enjoy whatever they put out. I also enjoyed it. I also enjoyed this season when they put it out as well. But I just looked at it a little differently since I've already experienced this game front to back. So take my opinion with just really big grains of salt. All right. And if you guys also want to, just leave your opinions down below of the new season in the comment section, and I'll be reading them, and I'll respond to them, and we'll have a little discussion. So without further ado, now let's get started. I have one problem real quick with the naming of this season. It's Plague Fall. There's so many games that have fall at the end of them. So just to get a few out of the way, I'm going to give you all an example. We have Titanfall, Planetfall, Greedfall, Godfall, Cryofall, Lightfall, Darkfall 2, Freedomfall, like more than you can imagine. I understand it's just something super petty. It's just something I think that should be mentioned. The titling, come on. This season compared to last season, like I said, feels a little bit lackluster because they introduced new grenade types and a new enemy type and a new event. Compared to the last two seasons where they actually introduced weapons and they introduced a new enemy type and they introduced a new boss type. So I feel like that they could have introduced a new boss quite easily into this season. So I was actually going on playing an elimination mission, and I saw the Rockpox covering the Dreadnought Cocoon, and I was kind of hoping that when I saw this, I was kind of hoping that there would be a new boss type, that there'd be like a Rockpox Dreadnought. And I was hyping myself up, and I was hyping up my teammates, thinking like, oh, hey, did these guys introduce like a new boss? I didn't know what to expect because I didn't really look at the patch notes. When I opened up the Cocoon, what popped out kind of disappointed me. It was just a regular old Dreadnought. They could have introduced the new boss quite easily. Say like, oh, the Rockpox has taken over the Dreadnought. It has a slightly new moves. So it could have like a ranged attack or something like that. That just left me a little, I guess wanting for more. I was expecting at least like a new boss type or something compared, because like the last two seasons had new boss types. The first season had new Dreadnoughts. So, and then the previous season, season 2, they introduced the Caretaker, and that's a new boss type. And this season, I was expecting them to introduce, like I said, the Rockpox Dreadnought, but that never came. I feel like this update actually made this game run a little bit slower. I don't think this update was very well optimized. I have a 3070 Ti, and I have a R7 CPU processor. And whenever I do play this game, like I experience some chunkiness to the game. I experience some frame drops. So whenever we're fighting like I have like a big old horde of enemies coming towards me, whenever I kill them and they start to release a bunch of particle effects, my game starts to drop a little bit in frames when it previously didn't do that in season 2. Also, another thing with that, whenever I do start shooting at the enemies, they start to flash like a certain color, and I haven't really experienced that as much lately when I've been playing the game, but it still happens from time to time, and I notice it. It's not too annoying or anything like that, and actually makes the enemies a little bit more visible when it's like in pitch blackness. That's something that should have been looked at and should have been patched out. If it wasn't just me. If you guys also experienced that, please let me know, but I think it's something that other people experience. And then I also think that the new grenades are actually okay. Like a few of them don't really hit the mark, but they also like step on the toes of previous grenades. The gunner has like a lead turret, like a lead burster turret, so he just tosses it out and it shoots bullets all over the place. It doesn't really kill as many enemies as you would like it to, compared to the cluster grenades, which you toss it out and it shoots out a whole bunch of smaller grenades and it blows up on the floor. That deals a bunch of damage and it also kills enemies compared to the lead burster grenade. The driller's grenade is just like the saw grenade, and it's alright. It doesn't really count as a melee kill when you toss it out, even though it should, since it's still like saw blades and everything. And so it doesn't really synergize well with the melee archetype of that class, because as a driller you can become a melee character if you use cryo grenades and use the battle drills. So it's the drills that deal more damage instead of drilling faster. You can have the axes as well, because axes are a throwable weapon that still count as a melee kill that also heal you. So they could have done that with this weapon, but they chose not to, and so for that reason I think it's a little bit worse than the throwable axes. For the engineer, they got like the shredder grenade, and when they toss that out, it just pops out and it summons 5 shredders that goes around and starts cleaning up enemies, no problem. And then for the scout, they have a boomerang, which is pretty decent, but I feel like it still steps on the toes of cryo grenade, because when you toss it out, it hits enemies one by one and then it stuns them, compared to the cryo grenade where you can just toss it out and it'll freeze a bunch of enemies, and it also deals like extra damage when you shoot them. I feel like that's something that could have been like just thought out just a little bit more. But other than that, I feel like overall that this season's still pretty good. It adds like a nice little atmosphere to it, adds like a nice little bit more suspense to it, because like you're wondering what's going to be happening next after this. It's like, oh, there's an infection that's coming in, starting to affect a bunch of bugs. It can infect people, like it can affect your dwarves as well, and I want to see where they take this either way. Like although I think that this season is still lackluster compared to the previous seasons, I still think that this is a good season, and I still look forward to seeing how it goes. I still look forward to seeing what they do with the game and what direction they take it in, and you know, I'm there for it. Like I've been supporting this game since it came out in early access, and I'm going to continue supporting it, so we'll see. Other than that, you know, I like to see your guys' opinions in the comment. Leave a like if you like this video, dislike it if you disliked it, and I will be seeing y'all very soon. Goodbye.